That's better, right? Maybe I should check the audio after Timcast IRL. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's a special live. We've got major breaking news. The dam is breaking, and so much is flooding in. I thought, let's do an extended morning live again. And it's also partly because, it's 4th of July weekend coming up. And what we're going to do is we're going to go a couple hours, and then I got a bunch of stories already lined up because there's just too much news coming out pertaining to Joe Biden. The first big story, of course, 25 House Democrats reportedly preparing to call for Biden to end re-election effort. The dam has broken. It's funny because that's what I was saying. I was saying this last week that the dam broke when the debate happened. News just started pouring out like crazy. And then come Monday, more and more news keeps coming out. So the Supreme Court immunity ruling, then Donald Trump getting the sentencing pushed back. And now here we are. It's just getting crazier. Now, the funniest thing about this is I think there's like one Biden sycophant left. Harry Sisson, for whatever reason. Like even Nancy Pelosi went on TV. She was doing some interview. I can't remember what channel it was. It might have been like MSNBC. And she was like, we have to ask, how did she phrase it? She was like, was this an episode or is this a condition? Wow. Well, I don't know. You tell me, lady. Here's the best part. Aside from what we're seeing now with all of these Democrats lining up to boot Joe Biden, in the prediction markets, Kamala is the front runner. That's it. For the Democratic Party, unpredicted, Kamala Harris is now the front runner. For the presidential race, it is now Trump and Kamala. I kid you not. And you know what? I think those are bad bets. I think those are very bad bets because I think we're going to get an open convention and they're going to nominate somebody else because it ain't going to be Kamala Harris. Now, it's not just that Democrats are calling for Biden to end his re-election effort. We've got an op-ed from The Hill where they're saying outright resign. I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled the 25th Amendment. Now, I've got a clip from 4 years ago, of Joe Biden talking. Wow. It's night and day. And we knew this back then that he was having trouble. And we had talked about sundowning, where as it gets late, Biden struggles to keep up. But decline is exponential. And what we're seeing now is quite literally the exponential decline of Joe Biden. So let's read this news, and I'll get through the first portion, and then we'll take your super chats here for those that are watching live. And we're gonna try this morning show live again. I've got a bunch of segments that I'll record while we're putting up live, while we're recording live, and then I'll put those up for later in the day for those who just want to catch those clips. But here's the first big breaking story from New York Post. Now, before we get started, head over to timcast.com, click join us, become a member, support our work directly, because we need your support to keep the show on the road. We've picked up a couple sponsors for a variety of events that we're doing because, well, Biden inflation is not good for anybody. And so become a member if you can. But also check this out. Timcast IRL live at the RNC in Milwaukee with Mike Lindell, Luke Rudkowski, Hannah Claire Brimelow, Libby Emmons, Thursday, July 18th. I don't know how many tickets are left, but they usually sell out super quick. And there's only like 50 or so as it is. So if you want to hang out in our live audience show at the RNC, everyone's going to be there in Milwaukee. Then click the banner at timcast.com and make sure you grab those tickets before they're gone. I hope they're not gone already. I mean, because we had this up for like a week. And honestly, they probably sell it super quick. Here's a story from the New York Post. 25 House Democrats reportedly preparing to call on Biden to end re-election effort. The dam has broken. President Biden may soon face increased pressure from Democrats in Congress to drop out of the 2024 race, according to a report. At least 25 House Democrats are preparing to call for the 81-year-old president to end his re-election bid in the wake of his disastrous debate against President Donald Trump, Reuters reported Tuesday, citing a House Democratic aide. And we've actually been hearing these rumblings quite a bit. We have this from the AP. Rep. Lloyd Doggett becomes first Democrat in Congress to call for Biden's withdrawal from the 2024 race. It is night and day. I got this clip. I want to play this clip for you. But so let me see if I can find this one. What was that clip from the debate? Let me, I should have pulled this up earlier because I want to show the contrast from where Biden was to where he is now. And so I'm going to grab this clip we've got from the debate last week, which is one of the most telling. And not to mention, it was also a major win for Trump. It's the here we go. Is this it? I could pull up this one, too, but I'm not gonna. Oh, that's a good one. The sharp as attack clip. Here's Biden struggling to get off the stairs. Let me just I got to find this one where Trump slammed Biden, saying he destroyed Medicare, because I feel like that really was the clip that, oh man, I'm scrolling through my Twitter feed just like, yikes, dude. The one where Biden's crying. But there's a clip from, I think it's Greg Price from, look at this. There's so many of these clips. This is absolutely crazy. I'm sorry, guys. I'm scrolling through this, but there's so many. Oh, man. Wow. Donald Trump winning in Poly Market. A tweet of someone saying, I'm going to try to give Joe Adderall through the TV. And here we go. We got it. This is Colin Rugg posted this. And I want to play this clip for you. And then I want to play you this clip right here. This is another clip. This is from 3 years ago, posted by Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Haha, Speaker at the time. Candidate Biden calls on illegal immigrants to surge the border. Check this out. This is really something to listen to. Take a listen.
All those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in.
Oh, I need to report a crime from this clip from the debate. I don't know. This is crazy. Biden sputters out of control, can't think straight or say anything. CNN jumps in to cover it up, and then Trump hooks him with that zinger. Well, you did beat Medicare. You beat it to death. Wow. Okay, so you heard Biden right there, right? Take a listen to this clip. This is from the Democratic debate. This was posted 3 years ago, so it's a little bit older than that, because this is from before he was president. But this is like 4 years ago. Listen.
I would, in fact, make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard. That's who we are. We're a nation that says if you want to flee and you're fleeing oppression, you should come.
So there's also the point to be made about him saying illegal immigrants should surge to the border. But this was posted in our newsroom. And you can clearly hear the difference even after a few years. They claim Joe Biden has a stutter. And I despise these people. I am absolutely sick of them. And I know you are too, because you have to be like, I'm sorry, the people who believe this stuff, I don't think they could be any stupider. And I'm not trying to be mean, but maybe I should be a little mean. And my question for, say, like Brian Stelter and for the CNN viewers and MSNBC viewers is, if you didn't eat breakfast yesterday, how would you have felt? And actually, you guys know that meme. I'm sure you do. There's another line to that meme, which is, tell me a story that has two characters who each have a single line of dialogue. And then now tell me a story where there are two characters that each have a single line of dialogue, and one of those characters is telling the other character a story about two characters who each have a single line of dialogue. The meme that sparked the low cognitive function stuff and conditional hypotheticals also made the point about how people who are low IQ, low cognition, they can't handle recursion. And then the funniest part was when the guy wrote Scheherazade was an IQ test. Ha! 1001 Tales, Scheherazade. How fun. How fun. So there it is right there. You can hear the difference in Joe Biden's everything. I mean, geez, the way he's standing up, the way he's looking at the crowd, the way he was old, but he had substantially more of a grasp on things. And we knew this back then because, as I mentioned, people were talking about sundowning, but we knew that decline is exponential. And now here we are. Take a look. Centrist House Democrats in competitive districts, the lawmakers most at risk of losing their seats in November, were so alarmed by Biden's infirmed appearance in last week's showdown with the 78-year-old presumptive Republican nominee, they are considering writing a letter to Biden, according to the outlet. Here we go. What to know about the fallout from the Biden debate. His poor performance in the first debate has left even some Democrats unsure. Obama admitted that Biden had a bad debate. Now, it's funny because Obama is publicly acting like he supports Biden, but privately saying he can't win, get him out, we need an open convention. Biden told a crowd at North Carolina rally the day after the debate that he doesn't debate as well as he used to. He actually just said yesterday that he almost fell asleep. Now, they were claiming he had a cold. Joe Biden's claiming he was tired from traveling a lot. And I love this. Fox News, they were like, maybe he didn't get the memo that he was supposed to lie and say he had a cold. They say those lawmakers have been peppered with questions about Biden by constituents since returning to their districts for the House 4th of July week recess. It looks like the dam is broken, a second House Democratic aide told the outlet. Now, I'm going to get to the CNN reaction in a little bit because it's glorious. But there's corporate press claiming that who do we got here? This is the truth, I think, is that Biden is going to lose to Trump, said Rep. Mary Glusenkamp of Washington. You've got this report from Semaphore claiming that the White House, quote, successfully covered up Biden's cognitive decline. And we're all just laughing because, like, no, you didn't. You just convinced stupid people. Regular people knew for a long time. That's why before the debate, in polling questions where they asked, do you think Biden has the mental acuity to be president? Only 35% said yes. I wouldn't call that a successful cover up. But now for the moment you've all been waiting for. The betting markets, ladies and gentlemen. How much money has been made so far? Take a look at this. Who will win the 2024 U.S. presidential election? This is Predict It, where you can buy shares of yes, of no. You can sell before the conclusion. You can hold out and hope to earn that dollar. Donald Trump at 59 cents. That means about 59%. Not necessarily, but that's sort of how it works. Kamala Harris, 23 cents, right behind Donald Trump. And then Joe Biden in third place with 21 cents. I feel bad for anybody who bought shares in Joe Biden like 3 months ago, thinking, nah, he's not there. He's in now. And I'm going to, oh, yeah. And now this happens. Gavin Newsom is at 6 cents. Robert Kennedy's at 3. And Pete Buttigieg is at 2. So, it doesn't quite add up to it's more than 100. But that's basically how they break it down, right? You can also buy no shares. So no shares for Biden or 80 cents. Here's how it works. I assume most of you do know, but not everybody watches every segment when we talk about Predict It. If you buy 59-cent shares of Donald Trump to win, once the election is over, if Trump did win, you get paid $1 for every share. So for Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, the same is true. If you were to buy, so it's 5-1 for Joe Biden. I mean, you're getting a value bet out of that, right? I wouldn't recommend it. Now take a look at this. Who will win the 2024 Democratic presidential nomination? Kamala Harris is in first place. She's the front runner. Kamala is the Democrat frontrunner right now. We had a member call last night into Timcast IRL and suggested, rather, I would say it's sage wisdom. We'll call it that. We'll go a little over the top with it. The reason that Democrats waited this long is to block RFK Jr. And we all kind of went, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Why didn't we think of that? Last year, and I'll tell you this right now. Here's what you do. Try and Google search Timcast News. Type into Google, youtube.com/TimcastNews, this channel, and guess what? We're banned from Google. I love it. Timcast IRL seems to be fine, but they don't let me monologue on Google. So I was trying to find this video because I said back in November, I think it was, Biden will not be the nominee. And I was just like, it's crazy to say it's a heavy prediction, but I cannot see them running Joe Biden after everything we've seen. Now, as is typical in my career, I have the unfortunate privilege of being ahead of the market. I was told that by a journalism professor 13 years ago. She was just like, unfortunately, the things you do, you have the unfortunate privilege of being ahead of the market. These companies can't adapt to the way you do your business, right? Because I was doing mobile, I was doing web and stuff like that, and none of these news companies were. And that's where I think I've been in 2020. And I am here. 2020, there was an oversight. I didn't realize the procedural games being played. I'd say my assessments based on all of the superficial metrics that we use for elections were spot on, but I did not track the shadow campaign stuff. How could I have? Maybe we knew we should have paid attention to that. But the thing about November, when I said this, I thought it was a generally common opinion among people like you and me and in the space, Steven Crowder, Viva Frei. You know, like I'm watching all these videos and like, we're all kind of seeing the same thing. How can they run this guy and win? The polling was bad. And it felt like a bad move to make a bold prediction. When March came around, there had been numerous predictions that Biden would be out by March. And when that didn't happen, I said, I guess it's too late. And like, what are they going to do? He can't be on the ballot in a bunch of these states, or whoever they swap him out with. And that's still true today. The deadline's passed. So how can they handle an open convention? That's why a lot of people still believe it will be Joe Biden. If Joe Biden is swapped at an open convention, you are going to have some blue states saying Joe Biden and some blue states saying Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom or Michelle Obama. Who knows? And then what? Are they going to try and be like, do a write-in campaign for Michelle Obama? They're not going to be able to ballot harvest that. So how do they handle this? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. And that's basically what I'm getting to. Like, I was searching for this video because I was like, this is what I thought back then. But here's what happened. When March comes around, everyone's basically saying, okay, Biden's clearly going to be the nominee. The deadline's passed. And then last night, the most obvious, RFK Jr. was trying to run in the Democrat primary, and they barred him. They blocked him. They gave him the boot. They did not want him to be running as a Democrat. Why? He would win. They knew Biden couldn't do it. They wanted to swap Biden out. I bet they wanted to run a primary, and they wanted to have someone like Newsom or Whitmer win. This is why Gavin Newsom debated Ron DeSantis, but they could not account for RFK Jr. If RFK Jr. ran the Democrat ticket, he would win handily. Because I got to be honest, even I sat down with RFK Jr. and we talked, and I disagree with him on a handful of things, but I agree with him on way too much. When he gets into the he gets into the passion around environmental toxins, he is 100% spot on. Luke Rudkowski talks about it all the time. And so we're in agreement there. He had a real chance at approaching moderates on the Democrat ticket. Granted, he's a bit woke and he tries downplaying that, but it is what it is. But they don't want RFK Jr. He's anti-establishment. He is not a part of their machine, so they had to lock him out. They could not let him win the primary because then how do you cheat him out of it at the convention? They weren't prepared for it. So here's what they did. They keep Joe Biden in knowing he can't do it. The media lies every step of the way, and now they are pretending to be surprised. Oh, I can't believe this is happening. How could this have happened? Well, nobody knew. It was a cover-up from the White House. No, it wasn't. That's what they're claiming. But now, if they have an open convention, RFK Jr. is already an independent, he can't win. It's not a guarantee. RFK Jr. could try to step in and argue for the nomination, and maybe he gets it, maybe. Maybe that's how they boost his profile. I guess I doubt it. It looks like, even when it comes to the Democratic nomination, RFK Jr. is not even there anymore. I mean, he's way at the bottom. And that's kind of wild to me. 1 cent for a share of RFK Jr. as the Democrat nominee. I think he's got a way better chance of being the nominee than J.B. Pritzker. Like RFK Jr. says, look, I was running as independent. I've already got a campaign going. We've already worked on ballot signatures. We are here. We are ready. We have a campaign. It makes no sense for them to go for anybody else. Maybe that was the plan. I don't know. I think they were trying to lock RFK Jr. out. Now it gets worse for him. It gets worse for him, my friends, because we've got this from The Hill. Biden should not just drop out of the race. He should resign. Jamie Barnett, opinion contributor for The Hill. You know why they want him to resign? If he resigns now, Kamala Harris becomes acting president, making it much more difficult for her to win a re-election. Then they can bring in Michelle Newsom, Obama Newsom, or Newsom Obama, or whatever their plan is. A lot of people said, how do you get past Kamala Harris? She's next in line. She's their diversity hire, and they're stuck with her. Not if she's acting president. I know people disagree, and that's fine. But my view is if she becomes acting president because Joe Biden steps down, she has an easy out of, I'm going to do my duty to this country, and I have no capability to do that and try and launch a campaign 4 months out. And then Michelle Obama steps in, or Whitmer or Newsom. And if it's Michelle Obama, the diversity thing is covered. And that's why a lot of people think it might be Michelle Obama. And there's polling suggesting she beats Trump by 10 points. There's a lot of people that think Michelle Obama could beat Trump. I would have said a couple of years ago, I would agree. What I would say now is I do think Michelle Obama is going to do way better than Joe Biden. Give Donald Trump a run for his money. But I think right now, I don't know. I don't believe it's fair to say that Michelle Obama is a guaranteed win for Democrats. There are a lot of people that claiming, oh, she's going to win by 10 points, by 12 points. She's going to trounce Trump. I'm like, nah. 2 years ago, I would have agreed. 2 years ago. But that was because Donald Trump was basically out of it. Now he's back. He's hitting harder than ever. That debate performance was masterfully done. One of my favorite memes out of the debate. I don't know if you've seen the videos of people crying. They're and no, hold on. It's funny. It's Gen Zers are posting videos of themselves crying. And like one guy's like in bed with tears running down his face. It's fake. And it's a quote. It says, in another life, I would have loved to have played golf with you, Joe. And it was something that Trump said to Joe Biden. And they're sitting there just like staring and crying like, in another life, I would have loved to have played golf with you, Joe. Oh, how sad. But Trump had a great performance. And he's hitting the nail on the head with the hammer. Now, they are trying to go after him with all of these convictions and stuff. I think if Michelle Obama stepped in, she'd have a slight lead. But it could be within the margin of error. Donald Trump is here. He's won over too many people. And it's not just that people like or don't like Trump, which is a huge factor here. But a lot of people are terrified of another Democrat administration. Michelle Obama may be younger and more cogent, or how about comprehensible? But I don't think that changes the fact that a lot of middle-aged people are going to say, I just can't do it. Under Donald Trump, life was better. What's the risk here? Democrat policy has led to crime. They may try and claim, no, that was because Biden's brain was fried. Yeah, that may work on a lot of people. I do think so. But if you look at the state level and the governor level, you can't get past it. People are upset over how things have been run. That being said, everybody blames the president for everything. So, well, later today, we got some news here. Biden's going to meet with Democratic governors to assuage fears after debate performance. He blames global travel for his lackluster debate, as 25 House members reportedly prepared to call for him to step down. And the reason is they're all going to lose. Democrats are going to lose down ticket if Joe Biden is the nominee. And that is a dream scenario. So I will say this. I call on all of you, good, God-fearing Americans. I mean that somewhat jokingly, but for those that literally are, we must protect Joe Biden. Joe Biden won the primary fair and square. This version of Joe Biden is sharp as he's ever been. Don't let the media cheap fakes. I watched that debate, and I agree with Harry Sisson that Joe was sharp as a tack and spoke calmly and with determination. That cough, he had a cold. No big deal. Now, Donald Trump, oh boy, he was no good. So we cheer for Biden. Got to have him as the nominee. Hey, those are the rules you wanted to play by. I think everyone agrees we'd prefer Joe Biden to be the nominee. But check this out. I think it's all planned. Look at this. June 28th, a day after the debate. Democrats fear a messy convention. Trump should fear their meltdown more. What could draw more people into politics than a must-watch nightly drama with the fate of the nation at stake? I don't disagree with that headline, but that ain't the first headline. This was written one day after the debate, and the title was, An Open Democratic Convention Would Be Must-See TV. They've been planning this. Nick Kristof of the New York Times pre-wrote his op-ed to some degree, calling for Joe Biden to step down. So they knew this was in the bag beforehand. And that's why I think RFK probably threw a wrench in the spokes. Joe Biden was probably supposed to step down in February or March. That's what the rumor was. But with the primaries underway, RFK Jr. was basically being set up to win if Joe Biden did step down. What could they have done? They know Kamala can't beat RFK. Kamala couldn't even get a single delegate. So Kamala Harris could beat a ham sandwich. I got to be completely honest. And to be fair, I'd say if you put it up between Kamala Harris and a golden retriever, or a Labrador, I'm voting for the Labrador. But to be fair, I'd vote for the Labrador over a lot of politicians. You put basically any member of Congress up against a golden retriever, I'm voting for the retriever. You know why? Because I know it's silly to vote for a dog, but they're not going to they're not going to support war. They aren't able to. And so having an animal that can do literally nothing is better than what these people are doing, because all they do is sink us deeper and deeper and deeper. Perhaps we need that forced correction. So here's where we're currently at. I mean, Democrats have been planning this for a while. in my opinion. Joe Biden's lead is being wiped out in critical battleground states, and internal polling data leaked. We talked about this last night. But where we are right now, based on this polling data, this is Open Labs, a progressive pollster for Democrats, and they're finding Joe Biden underwater in basically every state. He's underwater in New Hampshire, Wisconsin, Nebraska's second, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. He's underwater by a half point in Vermont. I'm sorry, Virginia. Why did I say Vermont? And a half a point in New Mexico. If these hold up, Donald Trump wins 333 electoral votes. Now, they've entertained the possibility, they've got more here, of a two-way horse race among everyone. Biden, Buttigieg, Harris, Newsom, Whitmer. It looks like Buttigieg actually does the best. Biden's underwater in all these states. Harris is underwater in all these states. And the only state Newsom's got is Wisconsin by a half point. Whitmer seems to do a lot better, but she's only got 3 states. So Buttigieg seems to be their best bet. Buttigieg is above water in Wisconsin, Nebraska, and Michigan. Same as Whitmer. Whitmer. But she's underwater in Nevada. She's up by 0.1 in Pennsylvania. But overall, it seems like Buttigieg does slightly better in many other states, though they are all losing. Right now, when you look at this data, it does not matter who they choose. If these numbers are solid, and maybe they're not, they cannot win. So you tell me what you think's going to happen. We'll figure that one out. For now, let's jump over to Super Chats, and then I've got another segment lined up talking about the media for you guys. So, it's all in good fun, and we'll nuke some of these tabs here, make it easier to go through all this stuff. I'll read your Super Chats. Become a member at timcast.com to support our work, and wait till you see this one. The next segment I got lined up for you, Brian Stelter tried playing the centrist angle to line up with the rest of his cohorts. And unfortunately for him, oh man, all the Biden supporters are going nuclear against him. They're calling him a shill, and he's apologized already. But first, we'll just grab some of your Super Chats and we'll talk about what's going on here in this world. Let's roll. So, all right, smash that like button, subscribe to this channel. Oh, and I'll stress this again, too. This channel's shadow banned on Google. You cannot search this channel on Google. I think that's intentional. And that's what I've been saying. That they're going to be trying to hinder and censor and shut down these messages. My segments, the narrative coming from Timcast, does not align with their corporate interest plans. I think they're doing this stuff intentionally. I think they planned for Biden to be in this long. I think the debate intentionally went around the Commission on Presidential Debates so they could sink Joe Biden. I think they wanted to do it the whole time. Joe Biden's their pariah. He reverses Trump's policies. Then they send in somebody else. And everyone can blame Joe Biden for it, and they get a Democrat in there fresh with 2 terms. Now, unfortunately for them, channels like mine exist. But fortunately for them, they control the reins at like Google. And so if you type in go to any one of these videos on this channel right now and type in the title and put it in Google, it won't come up. Maybe for some people it will, but it doesn't come up for me. And a few other people I work with were like, yeah, it's not coming up. Because I was trying to find that video earlier that I made back in November. Unsurprised. If you want to support the work that we do, share this video, share this channel, subscribe to this channel, and go to timcast.com and become a member. Yeah, because clearly they're trying to censor us, but you knew that. All right. UP Shuit says, I am just glad all who say Tim is a puppet are proven correct since this week. God bless you, Tim. So I'll actually just, I'll pull this up and show you guys. On Instagram, we made a funny little video. Shout out to Jack Posobiec and Brave Books. Got to pull up Boonies HQ here on Instagram. They made a Muppet of me, I guess, whatever you'd call it. So here's the Boonies HQ Instagram, and I hope you enjoy the video.
Okay.
EMTs! That's it. That's the video. So they made a Muppet version of me and has a little skateboard. And we made Muppet Tim try to drop in on the death drop at the Boonies. And he did not survive. He has died. I'm sorry, everybody. No, he'll be okay. He's a Muppet. Is it a Muppet or is that a trademark term? He's a puppet or whatever. All right, let's we'll grab some more super chats here. The Clapper of Cheeks, great name by the way, says nobody running in 2028 wants to be tainted by losing to Trump. They're as stuck with Biden as Kamala. Yeah, I really don't understand how they are going to be able to swap out Joe Biden. Seriously, I mean, it feels like they're going to, right? But like cleanly. Bombchew says, respect the vote. Joe is the corpse they chose. Agreed. Garrett Corral says, leave it to Democrats to cancel primaries, turn the presidential race into a Pokemon match where they switch out their Pokemon when the matchup no longer favors them. Well, you know, what are you going to do? All right. Big Cheese says, to me, the only option for Dems is asking RFK Jr. to show up to the convention and nominate him. He has been campaigning for months now. Agreed, but he's anti-establishment. He opposes their plans. They are not aligned. UP Shewitt says, I hope when they try to remove Jill and then she takes them all down with her revealing everything she knows about the other swamp creatures. Yeah, she's basically running the show for Joe. All right. Greg Duvier says, no, don't let them replace Biden. Agreed. Scott Hernan says, Biden steps down, Kamala president, then runs with Michelle Obama as VP. Hope I'm wrong. Keep up the great work. You tell the truth, and it's refreshing. Oh, thank you. I mean, think about how insane that would be. A Harris-Obama ticket, and they just stampede to the media with two black women running for president and vice president. I got to tell you, I don't think they could win. This is what people don't understand. I think people don't want to admit. Unfortunately for conservatives, they're not racist. They're not racist. Unfortunate. I'm kidding, by the way. It's very fortunate, and we're all very happy that conservatives aren't racist. The left are super racist. But understand, my friends, Michelle Obama is a black woman. And while many people did vote for Barack Obama, enough to get him to win, because I don't think race plays a factor, I do think woman plays a big factor. Because a lot of women who are moderate right-leaning flat out tell us every day that they don't want women in leadership. I mean, like literally tell us on the show. I think her being a woman plays a huge role. They were saying like Hillary Clinton lost because of sexism, blah, blah, blah. Well, when they flipped the script and they had, I forgot what university, I showed it last week. They had a woman read Trump's lines and a man read Hillary's lines. The woman still won. I do think that there is a weight against Michelle Obama for being a black woman. I think that there are leftist racists. I think it's predominantly default libs. And like default lib just means like someone doesn't really pay attention, like a normie. I think a lot of these people are going to be like, well, I might publicly claim I'm not racist, but I'm telling you this, and a lot of people may not want to hear it. Conservatives believe Michelle Obama can win because conservatives are not concerned about the race of Michelle Obama. They see her as an Obama, a popular, prominent figure in the corporate press. She fits the mold and all that stuff. But understand, from that Yale study, we know liberals condescend to black people. They pretend to be stupider than they are. They think black people don't know how to get IDs. They are just, it's abject racism. They say these things all publicly because they are white supremacists with guilty consciences. But behind the scenes, they ain't going to be voting for someone like that. That's just a reality. Now, a lot of them did vote for Barack Obama. I'm not saying it's not the case. That's why I don't think it's a guarantee. When people are like, Michelle Obama's just going to win, she'll beat Trump. And I'm like, nah, it's closer than you think. She's certainly popular with a lot of Democrats, but there are a lot of racist Democrats that ain't going to be voting for her, and a lot of sexist ones too. And I think for the most part, conservatives, they don't really care about that, but they're going to vote for Trump on policy. Not that I think I think there's a lot of racist Republicans too, you know, but I don't think that plays a role for most conservatives because they're having arguments on ideas and policy. Let's go. Gonfall says, if your beanie gave you a superpower, what would that power be? But it did. I have no idea. I don't know. Fun question, but the ability to jump 10 feet. There you go. Side note, Superman originally could not fly. The original Superman could only leap over tall buildings. And then I guess they said he could fly at some point. Fix Bandit says the obvious replacement for Biden is RFK. He will go into the open convention, get the nomination as long as he takes the DNC VP pick. They will make him take Beto or Buttigieg. Nah, he can't dump, was it Stranahan? He can't boot her off the ticket now. So I don't think they're going to do it. Let's go. All right. Link Wayne says, disastrous performance. Like it just now happened? So fake. How about disastrous presidency? Casper says, it may sound crazy, but Biden is their best bet. I got to be honest, like, maybe. But when you look at that internal polling, it does show that basically any other Democrat is doing better than Biden is doing right now. Let's go. What is this? Ologies? Tim, we must shout it from every mountain and spread the message. Physically eliminate all ballot drop boxes. You know, because of the debate, people may not show up for November thinking Trump has it in the bag. Dems will cheat. Yeah, if you got to look. This may be another part of the plan. Make Republicans think they can't lose. That's why Hillary lost. Democrats were so sure they couldn't lose, people didn't show up. For real, it's hilarious. Also, don't get me wrong, Hillary Clinton is like the least likable person in this country. So there's that. And they really don't understand the mindset of millennials and Gen Z. So there you go. The Hazmat says, IRL talked about it. EV fires last night. Firefighter here. Many Depp will just let them burn. There you go. Let them burn, barring exposures due to the volume of water required to put out due to thermal runaway. But even then, there's a risk of rekindle. You're talking about, EV fires, or electric vehicle fires. Yeah, see, the thing about lithium is that when you take lithium and you get it wet, it starts on fire. If you take lithium and flick it onto a pool of water, it will, what is it called? The Leidenfrost effect or whatever? It will start to float across the surface of the water because it's been a long time since chemistry class, but I'm pretty sure what's happening is it the hydrogen bonding to no, it's the oxygen, I think. Is it lithium oxide? No, it's hydroxide. I think it's the hydrogen. I could be wrong. Been too long. But it basically bonds, creates an exothermic reaction, releasing heat. And then the steam from the water creates a barrier of vapor, and the lithium spins out across. It's crazy. It's kind of like when you put a drop of water in a hot pan. The heat of the pan vaporizes the water touching the surface, creating a cushion of gas. So the water is basically floating. It's pretty wild. I believe it's also the same effect that allows people to take their hand and swat molten metal. There's a video of a guy doing it because it creates a thin barrier which prevents the moisture on your hand, creates a barrier. So for a split second, you can actually hit it. Not that I would recommend it, but so that's the issue with EV fires. You let them burn because it requires a lot of water to put them out. Yeah, you have to basically, I don't even know if putting it underwater would work. It would probably suppress the heat, but it would still rapidly rip apart the lithium. Yeah, you got to be careful those alkali metals and water. They also, I think, because the water vapor in the air, they corrode very, very quickly, and that heats up. If you take a sheet of lithium, you can feel it getting warm just in the air, and you can see it changing colors. You put water on it, it's something else. Grant Arnett says, I wouldn't count Joe out yet. If Fetterman can win, so can he. Hear, hear. They should keep Joe Biden. You get what you paid for. Doobie McNasty with a huge super chat. Thank you, sir. 0% chance Kamala is the front runner in any metric. I don't care what it says. The only person I've heard support her individually was Charlemagne on his Piers Morgan interview from 6 months ago. The entire conversation was laced with propaganda. I suffered. Sir, Doobie McNasty, we are all grateful that you suffered for us to relay this information to all of us. Thank you for suffering for the greater good. All right. Travis Christian says, I have no criminal record and I work at Walmart. Me, 2028. Better than Joe Biden. In fact, I would actually argue that there is there's a huge argument for a good salt of the earth, hardworking Walmart employee or otherwise to be a cabinet member. You know? All right. Let's see. What do we have? What's going on here? Bill says 25th Amendment can't be used here. Can you imagine if they used 25 to remove Biden, then replace Kamala, a POC, with a white guy like Newsom? You know, I got to be honest, we're talking about these scenarios, and it really could just be so simple that they have an open convention. Biden and Kamala are like, we respect the process. It's more important that we beat Trump. They're smiling and waving. The convention nominates Obama, Newsom, and Kamala's like, we did our best, and we are so grateful to be here. And that's it. They basically, look, the establishment goes to Kamala and says, you knew this was the case. And she goes, yep. The funny thing would be, though, they go to Kamala and they're like, you should be acting president. Biden's going to step down. But then we're going to replace you with someone else. And she goes, you got it. And then, of course, when she wins, she steps up and goes, I'm going to run anyway. And then she announces it to the public, and then they're stuck with her. Bleep's going to bleep says, this is already planned out. Gavin and Big Mike, but Corolla has humiliated him so many times, and not even Democrats want the U.S. to look like California. I agree, my friends. I completely agree. Let's see. We'll close out some of these here tabs. And I'm going to pull up this next segment I got for you guys. I think, oh, man, this is just too good. The absolute meltdown of Brian Stelter. It's too good. It's too good. But I want to start with this. This is from Semaphore. The view from Jill Abramson. Oh, boy. Yeah, I hope you guys are ready for this one. We have this story from Semaphore where the media is claiming that the White House perpetrated a grand cover-up. I kid you not. Let me show you the tweet actually from where did I put that stupid tweet? There we go, Alex Thompson, and then I'll pull up the Jill Abramson newsletter. He says, Jill Abramson to Semaphore Ben, quote, the Biden White House clearly succeeded in a massive cover-up of the degree of the president's feebleness and his serious physical decline. If you believe this, I have got a bridge to sell you. In fact, I have a collection. How about a dozen? We'll throw in an extra one if you buy 12. This is one of the most amazing things ever. Take a look at this from Glenn Greenwald, who really summarizes this beautifully. CNN admits something unbelievably embarrassing. Many in media failed to report more on Biden's cognitive issues because they feared blowback from the White House and Democrats, or worse, quote, age stories angered the White House and the liberal Twitter sphere the most. That's your media, ladies and gentlemen. But I'd like to give you the view from Jill Abramson. Wonderful. Semaphore doing the hard-hitting journalism that no one asked for. She writes, it's clear the best news reporters in Washington have failed in the first duty of journalism, to hold power accountable. It is our duty to poke through White House smokescreens and find the truth. The Biden White House clearly succeeded in a massive cover-up. No, they didn't. Dude, every single one of us knew this guy's brain was jello. These people are special. And I mean that in a literal sense. They're very special. The Biden White House clearly succeeded in a massive cover-up of the degree of the president's feebleness and his serious physical decline, which may be simply the result of old age. Shame on the White House press corps for not to have pierced the veil of secret. I can't do it. Not to have pierced the veil of secrecy surrounding the president. The dude was accused of pooping his pants on D-Day. Okay, there's a reason for that. And the media was like, that's a cheap fake. They're making that up. I love this because people are like, Tim, watch the full video. He clearly didn't poop his pants. I'm not saying he pooped his pants. I'm not saying he did. I'm saying there is more evidence that Joe Biden pooped his pants than there is that the Hunter Biden laptop was a Russian disinformation scheme. And if the media wants to run full speed ahead like bulls stampeding and say 51 officials claimed this has all the hallmarks of Russian disinformation, I go, whoa. And Biden pooped his pants. Because you have literally no evidence the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation. I got a video of Joe Biden doing his weird squat thing. Now, I don't know that he actually pooped his pants. I think there's a strong probability he did not. Some people have said, Tim, he was just trying to sit down. And I'm like, okay, so he forgot where he was. He was at a ceremony where everyone was standing and he was trying to sit down. I'm like, yeah, and then Jill Biden mutters, like, stand up, don't sit down. Okay, so he's forgotten where he was. I'll take that too. Some people have said, well, he was trying to put papers on the ground. Why? Why would he be putting papers on the ground? Okay, so your argument is the dude couldn't put paper on the ground? I don't care which one you pick. Either way, it shows the dude's brain is fried. And the idea that video, certainly not the only one, exists, and we had to dismiss it because there was some veil of secrecy keeping the media from realizing what was going on, is the most laughably insane thing I have ever heard. But no one's ever accused these people of being smart. So as much as I'd like to accuse them of conspiracy or a plot, They really are stupid. But I have to imagine, based on the reporting from CNN, the reality is they're just lying for access. And it is a disease. It is a contagion. It is an addiction. The people in the media who work for these news outlets, who are terrified because they're losing money and their ratings are in the gutter, are sitting there and their boss says, look, I know Joe Biden may have crapped his pants, but don't report it because then they're not going to give us the interviews we need. And those interviews generate ratings. There you go. Oh, boy, what else show me some more wise words, Jill Abramson. Here's what she writes. Obviously, the president's decline was a super hard story to report. Not for me. For me, it was fun, sad, funny, and obvious. Even by those who wanted to get it, like the Wall Street Journal. Their story did not deliver, using mostly named GOP sources. I want to pause real quick and just highlight the fact that we can see Joe Biden on TV. It's just like, I'm sitting here being like, Joe Biden just fell up the stairs. And they're like, no, he didn't. And I'm like, there's a video of him doing that's a cheap fake. And you're not. Okay, you guys ever see that joke on Family Guy where Peter Griffin is in the elevator with one other person and he farts and he looks at her and goes, it was you. Like, the joke is, who are you trying to convince? They know they didn't do it. Like, what are you trying to say? Like, I watched Joe Biden fall up the stairs. Okay, like, I don't know. I don't know what you're trying to tell me by claiming I didn't see that video. It's a cheap fake. They're trying to convince people who don't pay attention. And you know what? It works on a lot of them because they are dumb as a box. No, I was going to say they're dumb as a box of rocks, but that insults rocks. And rocks can be pretty based. Here we go. She says, I do think if enough reporters had pushed, the story was reportable. I worry that too many journalists didn't try to get the story because they did not want to be accused of helping elect Donald Trump. I get that. Because you are scumbags. You are all pieces of slime. Scumbag smear merchants. Let me tell you this. News gets reported that Donald Trump ordered a commando raid in Yemen, which may have resulted in the death of an American 8-year-old girl. And I will say that every opportunity or every time it is appropriate. I like Donald Trump. I think he's a net positive president. And that's surprising because I've not seen this before in my lifetime. And he's done a bunch of bad things that I will criticize. The missile strike in Syria was likely due to pressure from his administration, from bad people that he hired. He should not have done it. It was a waste of time and energy. I think it was smart that he pulled back from the airstrike on Iran. He said it would result in too much loss of life. I think that was the moment we began to see Donald Trump say, I got to pull back on this. They're pushing us for war too much. I respect it. Donald Trump has done some bad things, but he's done slightly more good things. I'll take it. I don't think that Donald Trump's personality fits the decorum of the White House. But at this point, I don't know that matters so much. He's a funny guy. I think he's done enough good. That's worth it. But I have no problem saying Donald Trump does bad thing. I have no problem saying where I think Trump is bad. And I said this the other day when they reported that Donald Trump, for his mass deportation plan, he wants to get military insurrection act. He wants to start rounding up millions of people, setting up camps and things like this. Now, the media, of course, is framing this in the worst light imaginable. When I asked Trump himself, he says local police will do it. And so my position is very clearly, you better not do the other one. I know I don't trust the media. I know they're full of it. But I have heard some mutterings about Insurrection Act stuff, too. Bad idea. Don't do it. Laura Loomer called out Donald Trump when he proposed green cards for college graduates. And no one supports Trump more than Laura Loomer. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to make sure this is very clear for all of you. When Laura Loomer has no problem saying, Trump, you are wrong about this, and the media will not point out what is plainly obvious in Joe Biden's age, I can tell you who is lying. Here's what I would say the reason I use Laura Loomer as an example is because she is the most ardent, the most fervent Donald Trump supporter that exists. And even she has the capacity to say, I disagree with you, Donald Trump. I'm a huge supporter and a huge fan, but this policy is bad. Think about look, they paint her as this lunatic, cultist, blah, blah, blah. And she has no problem putting out a big tweet about how she disagrees with his policy. I'm like, pretty sure if she was, as you described, she would just blindly follow behind anything that he did. And she often does support almost everything he does. But I think it's an inversion. Laura Loomer supports Trump because she does agree with most of the things that he does. And I think it's clear when he does something that people don't like and she says it, she had no reason to say that. She had criticized other people before saying, now is not the time to attack Trump because we need to win. And then Trump launches a policy and she goes, okay, but this one is bad. I respect it tremendously. They didn't want to help Donald Trump win. Think about this world. Who can you trust more? I got to be honest. You can't trust CNN. You can't trust MSNBC. You can't trust ABC. You can trust Laura Loomer. You know why? Trust is not about ignoring bias. Trust is about, are they going to be honest in what they're saying? And here's the thing. You know that when you go to Laura Loomer, and again, I'm singling her out because she is the most prominent or the most ardent Trump supporter. Not necessarily the most prominent, maybe Steve Bannon, maybe, but she's high profile and nobody supports Trump more than her. But even she is willing to criticize policies she doesn't like. You know that when you follow Laura Loomer, she is the most ardent Trump supporter. And you know the framing you're going to get is from a Trump supporter. I can respect it. I have no problem with that. And then you see her criticize him in the areas where it matters to her. But when you turn on the TV, when you turn on ABC News, you can't trust them. Why? Well, we know they're in the bag for Biden, but they're lying about it. They're claiming they're not, and they're covering up for him. Then everything that is plainly obvious to us that Joe Biden's brain is fried, they lie about. So you can't trust them. That's a remarkable world to live in. She goes on to say, this is no excuse for abandoning our first duty, which is to report the truth and hold power accountable. President Biden should be held accountable for his obvious lapses of mental acuity, even if there are periods of lucidity. Yeah, right. Just periods, just a couple here and there. It is simply astounding for the entire country, including its most seasoned reporters, to be as shocked as everyone was by the ugly and painful reality of Biden's debate performance. Did you guys see that dude, Jeff Tiedrick or whatever? He has that. I'm going to pull it up. I got to pull it. It's Defiant L's on Instagram and X. Let me grab this one. It'll be easier to find on Instagram because they got the grid view. But let me see if I can find this one. It is one of the best. He posts a lot. And it's basically that guy, Jeff Tiedrick, he's a reply guy. He used to just reply to everything. Here we go. I hope you're going to love this one. He tweets, Joe Biden bicycles into the debate hall, dismounts, runs up a ramp to his podium, one-handedly chugs a bottle of water, slams the empty bottle down on the lectern, turns to Trump and says, sup, F face. I'm not going to swear, but, you know. Then after the debate, that is, he tweeted that just before the debate. After the debate, he tweets, what the F did I just watch? That's amazing. 7:50 p.m., 6/27/2024. Joe Biden bicycles into the debate hall, dismounts, runs up a ramp to his podium, one-handedly chugs a bottle of water, slams the empty bottle down on the lectern, and turns to Trump and says, sup, F-face. 9:39 p.m., 6/27/24. What the F did I just watch? Dude, you've been gargling a little bit too much CNN over there. Maybe you should watch the real news. Here we go. They say, and she goes on to say, it's laughable and immoral for Democrats to blame the press now for overreacting to that reality. The reports of how bad Biden was are certainly not exaggerated, nor are the reports of Democrats in panic. Jill Abramson was the executive editor of the New York Times from 2011 to 2014. I'd like to say bravo to everybody. It takes a special kind of person. Where did I put that tweet from Glenn Greenwald? There we go. Special kind of person to still run with these lies. The idea that even now, these journalists are like, I can't believe we missed this story. Oh, what a successful I gotta repeat that for you guys. Where's that tweet? Alex Thompson. The Biden White House clearly succeeded in a massive cover-up of the degree of the president's feebleness and his serious physical decline. No, they didn't. I hate to break it to you. They certainly did not. Right now on this morning show, we're recording live, there are 21,000, just about 21,000 people. And I assure you, not a single one of them, not a single one was fooled by any of this. And I hate to break it to you, 65% of America, because the poll pre-debate was that 35% of people thought Joe Biden had the mental acuity to be president. 35%. Okay. So the other 65, to be fair, maybe like 50% said he doesn't, and the rest were like, we're not sure. But those are people who are not fooled. Even the people who are like, I don't know. It's because they've seen something and they're questioning it. Everybody else was kind of paying attention to what was going on. You ready for this one? Let's see the responses. Jeff Carlson says, the entirety of corporate media ran cover for Biden from the day he took office. Fact. Shem Horn, everybody saw all the videos, and we all know you guys saw all the videos too. And lying about covering up for the senile president isn't going to fool anyone. Here you go, at Amuse. Is this satire? Yo, I love this timeline. I mean, we're in dire straits. This country is in trouble. The border's falling apart. Inflation's through the roof. We're on the verge of World War III. But hey, we're having fun. Unfortunately, we're having fun. Richard H. Ebright says, with full complicity of corrupt major media. APBI says, because they did not want to be accused of helping elect Donald Trump. I get that. If you get that, you are not a journalist. Agreed. It's absolutely incredible that this is the state of the corporate press and where we are in media, but I don't believe it's fair to say that anyone was actually fooled by this. Like, I mean, I get it, like a third of the people, I suppose. But quartering, he asks if it's live or premiere. It's live. I'm live streaming. It is live. There, I answered your question in real time. Do I have a? It is 10:55 a.m. It would say premiere if it wasn't live. It says live in the corner. Live from Timcast HQ. I am absolutely. I just love where we're currently at. Is this satire? These people are dead serious. This is. You know, I'm left speechless. Speechless, I say. The idea that so many of these journalists think we cannot understand what they are doing is still, to me, insane. Like, let me break this down. Let's where's this from Glenn Greenwald? CNN admits something unbelievably embarrassing. Let me read the snippet from their actual story. The White House press shop has also been very aggressive and fairly successful in mitigating coverage of concerns over the president's age, said another White House reporter who works for a different publication. Quote, berating reporters who bring them reporting about age concerns, bemoaning that it's all anyone writes about, clearly it's not, and often attacking pieces after they run, the reporter told CNN. Quote, I think that's left some folks to conclude that these stories are too painful to report or that they should pick their spots more. It's clear the age stories that have angered the White House. It's clear the age stories that have angered the White House and the liberal Twitter sphere the most. Is that a typo? It's clear the age stories that have angered whatever. It is clear it is those stories. What does that mean? Liberal Twitter sphere. Yeah, I got another segment coming up for you in a second, but after we wrap this one up. This is what these journalists fear the most. They fear being insulted by the likes of Jeff Tiedrick or whatever. The reply guys with large influence. Have you asked yourself why it is that Harry Sisson... I got to bring Harry in here. Harry, come on over. We got to grab your Twitter account here, Harry. 21-year-old Democrat Harry Sisson with 900,000 on TikTok. I always love the people who include how many followers they have on their Twitter profile. Congratulations, sir. You have a lot of followers. That's great. And he's still going at it. I mean, I got no problem with him criticizing and insulting Trump supporters and Republicans. By all means, that's who you are. He loved this. VP Kamala Harris slammed Donald Trump and stressed the importance of the election. We have to take seriously the stakes of this election. Joe Biden is our nominee. We beat Trump once, and we're going to beat him again. Spot on as always. I'm fine with supporting Kamala in this way, sort of. But we can only handle so much, Harry. He says, I support President Biden 100%. He's had our backs, so let's have his. We must stand with President Biden and beat convicted felon Donald Trump. Oh, well, hold your horses there, sir. Now with the presidential immunity ruling, that case may get overturned because they used evidence from his official duties, which is, Supreme Court says no. But here's what I got to point out. And I'm only picking on Harry because he's easy to pick on, but there are many other personalities, the likes of David Pakman and the Krasensteins and... to varying degrees, some others, like Destiny included. But in this one, Harry takes the cake. Harry, no one is standing behind Joe Biden right now. The prediction markets have Kamala Harris as the front runner for the Democratic nomination. That's absolutely... You know what I got to do? I got to pull up the Real Clear Politics average right now. Real Clear Politics betting odds, U.S. president. Let's see if Kamala has overtaken yet. Almost. In aggregate, Joe Biden's at 14.5% in the betting market, and Harris is at 12.8%. Unpredicted, she's already taken over. This data seems to be, actually, she may have already taken, because this data is old, actually. When you look at the data we pulled up earlier in the show, in a previous segment, Kamala Harris is ahead of Joe Biden for the Democratic nomination and to win the presidency. Now, Trump is ahead of both of them, but so here's my point. We talk about who is covering up for Joe Biden, whether the media really could tell. Harry is the perfect example of the manipulative, look, Harry, you are an evil person, okay? But let me explain what that means. You are lying to people to serve an agenda instead of telling the people the truth so they can serve their own agendas. Now, maybe in Harry's universe, he thinks he's not evil. He thinks that he has a right to lie, cheat, and steal to gain power because he's a better man. Sure, that's more akin to fascism than democracy, whatever you want to call it. But this is the example. I get you support Joe Biden, but right now, no honest person believes Joe Biden is functioning and capable to be president. CNN has come out against him, and they're being accused of a conspiracy. All these people are losing their collective minds, and it's laughably absurd. Laughably, I say. So I'll tell you this. We got a couple more segments coming up for you, but for now, for those watching live, we're going to read super chats and take your comments before we jump into the next segment I got lined up, which is Brian Stelter, his absolute meltdown, and his bending the knee to the woke cult because he dared, dare I say, to point out the truth. And this is absolutely fantastic, this story, because it lines up perfectly with what Glenn Greenwald said. These people are absolutely terrified of getting replies on Twitter. But you know what, Brian? You made your bed, and you deserve it. So I'll wrap this segment up for there. The next segment, for those that are watching live, we'll jump right into it in a few minutes. But for those that are watching the clips, check out 4 p.m. We'll be back. And this is a special morning live show as we're getting to the holiday weekend. Trying to maximize as much time as I have because we're getting ready to leave to go see family after Timcast IRL tonight. But for now, we will jump over to Super Chats. So make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends, become a member at timcast.com to support our work. And we'll see you all at 4 p.m. For the rest of you, let me just turn that record button off. Let's grab some Super Chats real quick before I jump into the next segment. And I won't make you stare at Joe Biden's face like that as we jump to the next few Super Chats and get the ball rolling. You know what we really want to do, and we haven't gotten around to, is we want a brick oven outside so that we can, get a brick oven going, and then you can sit outside in the summer nights and you can cook burgers and pizzas and all the other good stuff. All right, let's try and jump up to where we left off with the last Super Chats. And here we go. KJ's What Happened says Barack Obama in Hebrew poetry, simply to the style of Isaiah, would translate literally to as lightning and the heights of the sky or heaven. Okay. Joe Corcoran says, all the Netflix shows with strong black women as the lead roles have been preparing us for this predictive programming. She will have a white man as a VP, NPCs activate. Yeah, maybe. And then Shadow Campaign, they give her the win. Christina Passifong says it's hard to search for this channel on YouTube, too. Indeed it is. This channel is absolutely shadow banned. It's funny, isn't it? Don't ask me why. I don't know. I think it's fairly obvious, though. They're trying to suppress these kinds of narratives. I guess they tolerate Timcast IRL to a certain degree, but, what we started doing is, and we've never done this before, because we typically just had organic growth. I think the reason they shadow banned all of my channels is because show's too good. Too good of show. Is it the best show? I don't know about that. But it's a good show. And it was rapidly growing. It was growing organically, and it was growing rapidly. And then all of a sudden, you can't Google search me anymore. How about them apples? There are a bunch of other channels, check this out, that have 2 million subscribers. New channels. Like there are channels that have been around for a year or two that have risen up to 2+ million subscribers, and they're getting like 30 to 50K views per video. Then there's this channel, which gets, I don't know, what is the average? Like probably 200,000. A lot of videos will get like 150, and then a lot will get like 250 to 3. So it averages maybe just around like 200 or so thousand per video, 4 times a day. Unsearchable. And how many? What does this channel have in terms? 1.2 million subscribers, and growth has been a few thousand per month subscribers because they've totally shadow banned it. So there's no more recommendation to new users. They don't want more people to get this line of thinking, but I also am not big on breaking the rules. They can't just outright ban me. It creates a really interesting predicament. This is called the tiny room shadow ban. They want to make sure your channel still operates so you don't create a splash, but they want to make sure no more people get to see it. The tiny room shadow ban is where they take you and all of your viewers and they put you in a tiny room. Everyone else is watching Mr. Beast by default, but you can't find this show on YouTube. How about that? And so we have these issues when we launch new channels, but it creates an increasing problem for them that we are continually successful. And we have a lot of members at Timcast.com. They've tried a bunch of things, censoring us. But this one, I can tell you, is plainly visible. If you search YouTube for Timcast News, okay, you know, like, let me, I don't even, what does this channel get? Gets, let me pull up the dashboard. We're hitting 15 million views in the last 28 days. Now, it used to be a lot higher. Granted, I used to do a lot more videos. Now, with only 4 days, I'm doing it's 16 videos per week, and they're all hitting a couple 100,000. Typically, some do a little bit less, depending on the subject and what I care about talking about. You look at some of these other bigger channels that gain way more subs that YouTube allows to be shared and recommends, and they get way less views. This is the predicament for YouTube. Merit versus diversity, I guess. They don't like my show, which has great merit, is entertaining, people want to watch, people agree with. They want people to watch other progressive channels, which aren't entertaining and are hard to watch. So they have to stick a boot on top of this channel to make sure it doesn't grow too quickly and become too successful, because that's merit. They suppress it while promoting garbage channels people don't want to watch. That's the political angle here, because if it was about business, they would just say, Tim Pool has a high watch time, 3 channels on YouTube that are over 1 million subscribers, and with little overlap, which is unfortunate for me. I wish you know, the people on the Timcast channel watch this one and otherwise, but the overlap is only about a third to a third to maybe 40%. They want to make sure these channels can't grow, which is part of the reason why we launch new shows, because we're trying to avoid their artificial suppression of what is enjoyable content that people like, or political narratives they're trying to suppress. So we'll grab some more super chats here. Waffle Sensei says, I wonder how many mail-in ballots have already been harvested for Joe Biden. I don't believe they will replace him. Too much energy has been spent. It's tough, right? It's a coin toss at this moment. Nick C says, studies suggest obesity affects cognitive functions. Skate with Tim, bike, walk, run, dance, swim, etc. Join us over at Fitcast on X. Let's get more united, healthier, and stronger people. And become, he says, both. Agreed. You know, so just over to my left right here, we have this amazing shelf I just built of my Magic the Gathering cards. I've been playing Magic the Gathering since 1994. And, you know, when I first started playing when I was a kid, I had no idea what any of this stuff was. I had packs of cards, and I was looking at them like, oh, man, it was antiquities. If anything knows about anything about Magic, I probably lost millions of dollars in the cards that I have just neglected and don't even know where they went. There's probably a backpack full of Magic cards from 1995, many valuable ones, because back then the super rare cards that are worth like 20 grand and 100 grand were a couple $100. There's probably some backpack sitting there in some storage locker in Chicago, because I lost my backpack, in some warehouse that just was forgotten about. And there's probably like $200,000 worth of Magic cards in there now. But I will say this. Magic the Gathering players are morbidly obese, overwhelmingly obese. It's unfortunate. You're playing a game that is effectively chess and poker combined. The game is rapidly evolving with new card functions coming out almost every day at this point, but it's every few months. And, you know, a lot of people think Magic the Gathering is like Dungeons and Dragons, where you're like pretending you're a wizard. No, it's chess and it's poker combined. It is chess with an evolving board. That's basically what it is, a strategy game. The problem is most people who play are fat, like morbidly obese. Now, I got to be honest. I watch chess tournaments. I don't see morbidly obese people. It's crazy. Like these are regular, average looking people. I don't know what it is about Magic the Gathering that attracts such morbidly obese people. I'm not trying to be mean to you guys. If you are a Magic the Gathering player who is fat, I'm trying to point out that high weight, high blood pressure, high sodium, all of that pressure on your system is actually depressing cognitive function. If you were to get fit, your cognitive function improves along with it. When you warm up exercising, the blood flowing, that improves cognitive function too. You want to be a great Magic the Gathering player, Pokemon, Lorcana, Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever game you play. If you want to be a great chess player, if you want to be a great singer, you need full body fitness. And I'm just going to say that. Fitcast, shout it out. You guys gotta make sure you're exercising because it's all we gotta take care of yourselves. All right. Dre Thomas Ferry says, "Hey Tim, shout out to my wife Brianna, who just opened a coffee shop in Mora, Minnesota, called Me and Bean. By the way, Graphene Dream all the way. I'm hearing really great things about Ian's special Graphene Dream blend. The story goes that Ian wanted a low acidity coffee, so Allison did some research on a variety of low acidity coffees and produced a blend." And created created Ian's Graphene Dream. And we're hearing really great things. So castbrew.com, Ian's Graphene Dream. I haven't yet tried it. I got to be honest, I haven't tried it yet. We've got some on the way. Speaking of launching your own companies, we got great news with Martinsburg. Several of the local businesses are completely on board. We've got a couple of local businesses in the area have reached out to us, thanking us for being involved, wanting to improve the community and do all of these things. And there's a concern that there's this like darker woke element, highly entitled, people who demand the government pay their bills, that kind of thing. And they're worried what it will do to the city as they're trying to expand. New apartments are coming up. New restaurants are coming up. All of these people who run businesses know what it means when homeless, derelict individuals start showing up with woke politics demanding of you. They're not overly political. They just don't want to see Martinsburg turn into San Francisco. And so it's looking like things are moving along in a great direction. Should be fun. Let's grab some more of these super chats. Bob Moneybag says, Biden told donors that he almost fell asleep at the debate because of his travel schedule. Keep in mind, he was at Camp David for the week prior. That's right. He was sleeping, and they were likely having him nap because they wanted to get him ready, get his sleep schedule ready. Ramtack says, Tim, if Biden resigns, Kamala becomes the president, not acting POTUS. Yes, I don't know what the difference is. Acting is just a qualifier to reference that she's not elected. An acting president is a person who temporarily fills the role of the country's president while the incumbent president is unavailable. I see what you're saying. You are correct. Right. Acting president is when Joe Biden undergoes a medical procedure briefly. I think this actually happened. Then Kamala would be acting president for like a week or so and then she would be literally the president. I see what you're saying. Yes. Wizza says, hey, Tim, love you. Love your work. I'm a truck driver and I like watching your stuff on the road. Appreciate it. You see, and YouTube's trying to suppress it. Hey, YouTube, what's the big deal, huh? Why can't you search for this channel? You know, I don't know what to do. You know what I think I have to do? This is what I do with Timcast IRL. We're running an ad. It's a low cost ad we're running every month. Small percentage to break the tiny room. And they got really mad about it. And so I was trying to run ads for Timcast IRL. You may have seen it. It's me going, hey, for the best show in politics, culture, and news, head over to Timcast, youtube.com/Timcast IRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. live. We'll see you there. It's like 14 seconds long. And when I first tried running it, they said, no, politics. So I appealed. Hey, there's no politics. They came back and said, yes, politics. I said, where politics? They said, you know what? You're right. There are no politics. Approved. I said, thank you. Then they came back and they deleted the 2 episodes that were highlighted in the ad because the ad originally showed the channel. Surprise, surprise. So I made a new ad at the news studio. Denied. Made a new ad. Denied. Made a new ad. Nothing on the screen. Just me. Denied, appealed, approved. And now we've been running it. They were so desperate to stop me from breaking the tiny room shadow ban. And it worked. This small 14-second ad has doubled our monthly subscriptions. We are seeing now the steady incline. And hey, I'll take it. YouTube, if your idea is you don't deserve free marketing and I should have to pay for the marketing, I got no problem doing that. It's not particularly expensive and it breaks the tiny room shadow ban. Maybe that's what I need to do for this channel. The Tim Pool Daily Show. We'll do a graphic redesign for the channel. We'll put the schedule on the side. And then we'll run a small ad being like, for your morning news show, make sure you subscribe to TimcastNews on YouTube. And then they can't they can't do anything about it. Ads on Google are separate from the YouTube ecosystem. They're trying to suppress this channel. But if I run a simple ad on YouTube through Google Ads, there ain't nothing they can do to stop me. So I think that's probably a good plan. And that basically breaks the Tiny Room shadow ban, because while the videos aren't going to get recommended outside of the Tiny Room shadow ban, new viewers will see those commercials, which they can't stop, and come to the channel and subscribe and watch my videos. And you know what? Fine, so be it. If I have to pay money to market my business, that's how the world's always been. And I'll put it this way, too. I am in no way entitled to free marketing from YouTube. Terms accepted, YouTube. I will make a commercial for this channel, and we will break the Tiny Room shadow ban as you have us banned from Google and YouTube search. How about that? The funny thing is, when you try and search for this channel in these videos, and you get leftists attacking me instead, it's such ridiculous BS. People are like, I'd like to watch a Tim Pool video. Here's a video of someone insulting Tim Pool. You see what their game plan is. They want to destroy this channel. You know, I'll give a shout out. We had Richard Spencer and Andrew Wilson on the Culture War podcast. And when we got into a heated debate over civil war, civil strife, and social decay, Richard said to me afterwards, he said, I had no idea you knew this much about, you know, history and Civil War, revolution, et cetera, because I only have ever seen the clips from leftists insulting you. And I'm like, that's the point. So when I say something like, I don't know if a civil war will happen, but we are in civil strife, that's an academically accepted fact on the left and the right. There are many people who don't want to believe it, but I'm saying historians and academics have agreed the U.S. is in a period of civil strife. That's just me reporting. When I say there's we have a high potentiality for civil war, that is me literally reporting national security reports, and me saying we don't want civil war. That's why we want Trump to win, to stabilize law enforcement at the federal level, make sure we get accountability, blah, blah, blah. Although it may lead to Democrats losing their minds, and potentially contingent elections could lead to more civil strife, et cetera, et cetera. Those are the things that they don't want you to see. They only want you to see the out-of-context garbled nonsense. I'll shout out Candace Owens, too. She's got a clip going viral on X. And it's her saying, I'm not a flat earther. And then she says, I'm not a round earther. And then she says, I have left the cult of science. And the reason why I broke it up that way is because I don't actually know the context of what she's saying. But you've got Colin Wright and you've got Konstantin Kaisin. Am I getting his name right? I don't know. And they're basically like, haha, Candace, you're silly. Science is great. And I'm sitting here being like, dude, I don't know what she's saying. Like a 30-second clip of her explaining the cult of science as a pagan faith. I don't know what the context is. And here's the issue. So now she's getting attacked by these like centrist types. And my response was, I'd much prefer to see the full context of her argument instead of just a 30-second clip. Because I don't play that game. I don't like that, right? When it comes to Candace's argument about the pagan faith of science, I don't think she's talking about engineers who figured out how microwaves worked. I don't think she's talking about the guy who invented who discovered radio and created a radio transceiver or whatever. I think she's talking about woke people submitting fake articles, which has been proven by James Lindsay already, and the humanities, etc. I think she's talking about that, where you've got these weirdo anti-Christian activists putting in fake studies. But she's right about that. And she's like, I used to believe those studies were all completely true. Now I realize a lot of this is fake. Now, she said she wasn't a flat earther or a round earther. What's the full context? Because just that alone, they're going, haha, look how dumb she is. And I'm like, I'm willing to bet if you ask Candace if she thinks the earth is round, she'll say yes. And her point is bigger than that. But again, to be fair, I don't know. That's why I don't like these out of context videos. They just don't do. I think Candace is very smart. I've spoken to her on her show, and we've talked in depth about these political issues, and she's been spot on. So when I see a clip like that, I'm like, dude, for all I know, it's something like this. She goes, and so here I am talking to this guy, and he's telling me the story where he says, I'm not a flat earther. I'm not a round earther. I'm someone who left you get the point. Oftentimes, these out of context clips are literally just someone quoting someone else. They've done that over and over and over again with this. So I'm not going to buy it. I'm not accusing Konstantin or anyone of doing that. I'm just saying I don't trust you got to give me the full context, right? That's why I said, she said, I'm not a flat earther. She said, I'm not a round earther. Because like one of the things they do And this is really funny too, but this one is kind of on purpose. I took a picture with Elijah Schaffer, who is like 6'3" or whatever, and I'm 5'10". And so I don't want to be a dick to the person we're kind of roasting, because it was meant to just be a gag. I didn't think they were going to post the photo, but I took a picture with Elijah, and I'm standing there normally. And then I made the joke that all of these guests who come on IRL, there's like a lot of people who are like over 6 feet, always want to get a picture with me. And I'm like, then you get all these pictures of these guys who are tall, and I'm 5'10". And so then they're like, these photos make me look short. And then people claim, it's really funny when like a lot of people think, I guess from the camera angles and stuff, they just assume that I'm like not tall or something. I don't know. 5'10" is like fairly average. It's slightly above average. I guess I think 5'9" is average. And then they watch the skate videos and I'm like taller than everyone in the room. And they're like, oh, wow, Tim's actually kind of tall. But so I did this thing where I stood on my tippy toes and put my arm around Elijah and smiled, looking up at the camera pointed down as a bit. And now they're all running with it like it's a real thing. Well, it's because these are people who can't understand how they would have felt if they didn't eat breakfast yesterday, if you get my point. Let's grab some more super chats here. Jeffy says, happy 4th, Tim. Are you a firework popping guy? Oh, we are. Fireworks 100%. We had last year, it was really dry, and we launched a bunch of fireworks, and the grass started on fire. But it's okay. We are smart. We have fire extinguishers. We didn't need to use them. We just walked over and stamped it out and then poured a little water on it, and everything was fine. But you got to be careful. You got to be careful when you're launching fireworks, especially if it's dry, because we have a big grassy field. And so we were very, very careful. But we were launching things up, and a couple of them came down, and then we noticed the embers burning, and it was like an inch on the ground. You could see it. We were like, whoa. And then we stamped it out, poured some water on it, and said, let's be careful. And we didn't really see anything else like that, but I think y'all should be very, very careful for that reason. All right, we'll grab one more super chat, and then we'll jump to this next segment that I've got. Extra Pretty Lady says, all invited to view Av's Lock and Key 5th Annual Fireworks Display in Hedgesville, West Virginia. It's 9 miles west of New Cast Brew Building. Saturday, July 6th, 9 p.m. Details found on Av's Lock and Key 5th Annual Display FB page. Always a blast. Sounds pretty fun. I'm going to be out of town visiting family for the 4th of July and going to have fun. Ryan Sargent says, Harry Sisson is a prime example of why the voting age should be raised to 30. Maybe. I also think it's fair to just say the voting requirement should be selective service. Ain't no way Harry's signing up for selective service. He'll go and advocate everyone else should, but he would never do it. And then he wouldn't vote. So there you go. All right, everybody. Let's jump to this next segment I got for you guys. This is, it's a sad, sad story. We have here, this here is the sad, sad story of Brian Stelter. He is basically trying to get on board with the apt criticism of Joe Biden. Unfortunately for him, he has built his entire base around conspiracy-minded blue anon crackpots who think Joe Biden is fine. They are a cult. And I'm going to prove it to you. This is the story of a man who once worked for CNN, who was fired, but dedicated so much time to lying about Donald Trump and lying about reality, he has crafted a bin of refuse for which he must now live. Pathetic, Brian. I've got many disparaging statements to make about you, but I'll keep it as academic as possible. Brian Stelter tweets, the sheer amount of conspiracy thinking on the left at this moment is deeply unhealthy. Example, all the people who seem convinced that CNN and other media orgs are trying to ruin Biden and re-elect Trump. In reality, news outlets are merely trying to report the news. Now, when Brian Stelter gets attacked by Democratic Party PACs and individuals on X, and then he begs and he apologizes to them, it's cathartic. Because this is such a despicable, evil, smarmy man. Brian Stelter is one of the worst. He lied on TV every single time. He claimed he was a newsman telling the truth, but all he did was lie. He built this audience, and now he gets to live in it. The average person is now realizing Joe Biden is cognitively void. Let's put it that way. In the real world, if you go out and talk to someone, they're going to tell you, yeah, Biden's fried. Well, Brian Stelter surrounded himself in his career with sycophants and cultists who don't really represent the average person. So he can no longer defy them. Now that he's out at CNN, because he was on his knees for Jeff Zucker, doing whatever they wanted, There's nothing you can do about it. I'll show you two quick things that I've played in other segments to give you some context real quick. And then I'll show you what happens to Brian Stelter on X when you play stupid games. The first thing, of course, is Alex Thompson saying, quote, from Jill Abramson, former executive editor of the New York Times, the Biden White House clearly succeeded in a massive cover-up of the degree of the president's feebleness and his serious physical decline. Yet nobody believes that. Then, of course, you have this tweet from Glenn Greenwald, where they point out in a CNN article, some folks concluded that these stories, mostly about Biden's age, are too painful to report or they should pick their spots more. It's clear the age stories that have angered the White House and liberal Twitter sphere the most. It is the age stories that have angered the White House and the Twitter sphere the most. So here's now Brian Stelter wading into dangerous territory by trying to join in with the narratives of the corporate press after building up this audience. I give you Midas touch. These are pro-Democrat media manipulators and liars. That seems to be all they've got. It's funny because the Republicans, the conservatives, the libertarians have independent voices that are not paid by any of them, but this is the narrative they try to play. It's funny when they make things up outright because they are evil. One of my favorite lies is recently with all this skate park drama, you got these people saying, Tim Pool is rich because he inherited money from his parents. Uh-oh, you're in trouble now because the narrative last month was that my parents are upset I'm not giving them money. All of which is just plumb lies across the board, but you can't have it both ways. Check this out. Midas Touch says, President Biden signs bipartisan legislation that will save lives and help Americans suffering from a horrible disease. Again, showing his effectiveness as a president who gets things done. Wow. Brian Stelter tweeted this. In response to POTUS's tweet, POTUS said, today I signed the National Plan to End Parkinson's Act, a law that will help prevent, treat, and cure Parkinson's disease and similar disorders. This law is about dignity. It gives people hope that we can end this cruel disease and that we can still do big things. Brian Stelter tweeted, today of all days. I think it was an appropriate tweet. I understand the point Brian is trying to make. While the media is hyper-fixated on Joe Biden's feebleness and lack of capabilities, he is signing a bill addressing Parkinson's and similar disorders. Brian's basically saying this move by the president is only going to exacerbate the narrative around cognitive decline and mental disability at a time when the president is the focus of it himself. Now, today of all days is easily understood by people, in my opinion, who can understand how they felt if they did not eat breakfast yesterday. But for everyone else, it's how dare you insult the president? So the Midas Touch highlights this and insults Brian Stelter. Well, don't worry, everyone. Brian Stelter is as feeble as they come. He tweeted, I am not the media. I'm just one imperfect guy. I screwed up with this tweet and I'm here to say sorry. Sorry for what? What did you say? I don't get it. Are you kidding? You know, the funniest thing to me is that Brian Stelter has been bald for so long, which usually indicates high testosterone, but this guy is as low T as they come. That's the first thing I thought. I'm like, Brian, how do you not have hair? You're supposed to have a lot of testosterone. How about you tell these people to go shove off? How about you say, I said what I said. You got a problem with it. The door is over there. Unfollow me. Dude, I've been in, I love it when these people are like, Tim Pool is fighting his audience again. I'm like, shut up. Fighting. Dude, if I believe something and literally everyone who follows me tells me I'm wrong, you think I'm going to be like, I guess all of you people are right. My convictions are meaningless. I'll get out of here, dude. I've had periods where people unfollow me. I get unfollowed all the time. Like, welcome to real life. It's fascinating when people are just like, I can't believe you would say that, Tim. I'm unfollowing you. And I'm like, well, I can't do anything about that. This idea that you can live in this world where you will please all the people all the time is the stupidest thing imaginable. You can be your best. You can try your best to be honest, have integrity, and state your positions. And you know what I hear mostly from people who follow me? Tim, I don't agree with most of what you say, but I can respect that you're being honest about the news and what's actually going on. And my attitude is, hey, look, man, I'm going to believe what I believe based on the world that I grew up in, the things that I've learned and the things that I've seen. And we're going to disagree on the best path forward because neither of us are the smartest people in the world. But here's what happened. And that's why I can respect. There's some progressives I can respect. You know, I think Crystal Ball's great. I think Kyle Kalinske is pretty good too. But they get things wrong, and that's fine. I get things wrong as well. But I know that both Crystal and Kyle are people that will sit down and have a conversation. And if I say, take a look at the story, here's a thing that happened, they'll both be like, interesting. And then we'll disagree on what the solution is or the assessment or the prescription or whatever it may be. And that's life. And that's totally fine. And that's basically me and every other conservative. This is what you get with the likes of Brian Stelter and CNN. I'm not the media. I'm just one imperfect guy. I screwed up. Uh-huh. Here you go. Cliff Schechter. Don't worry, Brian. I'm sure your old pals at CNN will circle the wagons for you as you did for them, as you all do for each other, rather than admitting you're spending more time on Biden's age than Trump's felonies, open treason, and the threat he poses with the imbecilic SCOTUS. But by the way, I'm not your conspiratorial left. I don't think CNN wants Trump to win. They want ratings, and that trumps, if you will, democracy. You're what network predicted, WWE, bread and circuses. Your old channel is helping stab democracy in the heart. And the funny thing is, Cliff, we agree on so much, and we disagree on so much as well. Ain't that America? You're right. CNN wants ratings. It's WWE. It's bread and circuses. You are 100% correct on the assessment right here. CNN is playing the game right now because they've been burning their audience. Their ratings 2 weeks ago, and the key demo was 49,000. They're averaging 80,000. Let me check right now. I'm pretty sure we've already trounced their primetime ratings with this morning show. Let's see if I pull up the analytics right now and take a mosey on over to where we're currently at with our ratings. We are currently sitting, yes, at 100,000 total views so far for this live broadcast. So to be fair, it's in an hour and a half. We've gotten about 100,000 viewers. And so, I don't know, I can call that, is it fair? It's probably not fair to call it 60,000 for the first hour because there's a big spike. So it could be like 70 or 80. But in this morning show, I've gotten substantially more ratings than their prime time show. And also, to be fair, Timcast IRL does like 300,000 in an hour and a half. And so, there you go, CNN. And the important thing is this is a key demo. This is a key demo. So CNN, they know what's going on. Their ratings are on fire. The media has shifted. There's no denying it. This is what I said to the Krasensteins and to Destiny. These are liberal pundits. Only for so long can you maintain the facade of Biden being functional. Because sooner or later, regular people realize you're lying to them. And that's what CNN's saying right now. They're basically coming out and going, oh, man, oh, geez, we had no idea. Oh, I can't believe it. It was a cover-up. The White House covered it up. Because the American people know. So how does the media escape? Regular people are starting to realize the media lied to them. That's bad news for CNN. The angle being played by the likes of CNN, the New York Times, and otherwise is it was a cover-up. They covered it up and we had no idea. Uh-huh. CNN's now trying to play the look at Cuomo and the tour that he's doing, trying to be like, I've been reasonable the whole time. I'm a centrist. It is WWE. It is ratings. But Brian, you reap what you have sown. Siraj Hashmi tweets, Brian Stelter, welcome to the deplorables. Let me show you the series of tweets. First, he shows Brian Stelter's tweet, today of all days, referencing the Parkinson's thing. And then you have, here's one, no evidence or reporting that Biden has Parkinson's as you imply here, which is not what he implied. It's an ableist comment. If he had Parkinson's, it could have no effect on his ability to do the job. And 3, unfollowing. Bye. 1, Alexander Boyd says, go outside and touch some grass. I love that one. Because, these people they're keyboard warriors all the same. They're sitting here on Twitter being like, hey, you touch grass. I'm like, you touch grass. The problem for me is I touch too much. We got 50 some odd acres of grass. We got to get the guy to come in and mow it. That means nothing. Shut up. Vic Vell says, Brian, I've always known you were a hack. Learning now that you're also a total prick. Delete this, apologize to the people suffering from this disease, and start using your platform for something useful, for crying out loud. Aaron Rupar, here we go. He says, your obsession with the Biden age stuff is veering into some weird territory. Yo, they're melting down. Chris Jackson. What an ish thing, comment, excuse me, by one of the supposedly responsible journalists. Justin Brennan says, what happened to you, bud? Yeah. What happened to you, bud? Daily Trick says, very cool how you're not even pretending to be objective anymore. I love that he never did pretend and he was lying the whole time, but only now they're like, how dare you? Brian Kelly, you must be drinking, Brian. That joke was pathetic or a dog whistle. Either way, it was bad. You're an unserious journalist. One guy says, I felt bad when CNN let you go, but not anymore. You're a POS like Tapper and Bash. Jake Tapper and Dana Bash didn't do anything. They literally just hosted a debate and Biden failed, and they're attacking them for it. Taylor E. Darcy, if you want to be a political pundit akin to Tucker Carlson, Charlie Kirk, and Ben Shapiro, you should say, hey, what about Tim Pool? You put my name in there. Tanya Bailey says, this is just gross, Brian. I've been a big fan of yours for years and was upset when CNN gave you the boot, but I'm not sure how much longer that can be the case. Sorry, Brian. You reap what you have sown. You are unwelcome among the faction of moderate Americans who have long paid attention to the truth. And I hate to break it to you. They're not going to defend you either. They're going to come after you and they'll destroy you because this is what you are to them. You're a Muppet. You are there to parrot talking points of Karine Jean-Pierre or shut your mouth. Get in line. If that's the world you want to live in, by all means, you're on the wrong side of history. And I hate to break it to people like Brian and other journalists who are now just waking up to it. You've been on the wrong side of history. Isn't that scary for you? Now, for me, I don't care what side of whatever I am on. I care about what is true. I care about what makes things better. I care about how we can help other people and help this country and the world. And if that means doing right puts you on the wrong side of history and your side loses, it is what it is. Because what is written about me in the history books does not matter. What matters is that the world is a better place for the people who come after me. But you can tell where the liberals live. These protesters chant in the streets, you're on the wrong side of history. What are they saying? They're saying, we will take the narrative and we will demonize you. But that means nothing to me because you can write whatever you want. If I fight for what I believe in and justice prevails, I have nothing to worry about. I know that if I am on the side of truth and justice, then we will prevail. We will. Sometimes there are dark periods. You don't win every battle, but in the long run, good wins. I don't think the left realizes that. And now we can see this. Probably the most terrifying thing for all of these leftists is, you were on the wrong side of history the whole time. I'll wrap up that segment there. Smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with all your friends, become a member at Timcast.com. They've shadow banned my channel, this channel right here. It's shadow banned. You know, some say the worst, the most shadow banned. It's not, but it's certainly shadow banned. But I do appreciate your support. You can follow me on X at Timcast, on Instagram at Timcast. We are recording a special live morning segment. We're breaking it up, so this will be posted about 4 p.m. And we got another one coming up for you at 6 p.m. You don't want to miss it. But for now, I'm going to jump over to Super Chat. So thanks for watching, and we will see you all in the next segment. All right, let's grab some Super Chats while we're here. I don't know if I have anything. I think I have a couple more stories lined up for at least one more segment for the day. And I've had a blast doing this live morning show. And, I've talked about this before. What I would really prefer to do for the show is a 10 a.m., a 2-hour morning show. Because you get those little segments you don't normally get, like when I talk about fitness for like 3 minutes. And it's easier. It's faster. The challenge, it misses the breaking news later in the day. So usually when I space out the segments, there's an opportunity to catch breaking news as it comes. However, I think this does make sense if we do this morning show like this, because then the breaking news we hit for Timcast IRL as it is. So, it is what it is. But we'll grab some Super Chats. We'll grab some Super Chats from you. Bobby Moneybag says, quit disparaging President Biden, Tim. My dead grandmother will be voting for him, so we have so have some respect. Sorry about that. Let's go. Tom Dill says, love you, Tim. Your channel is pretty much where I get my news. Keep being honest. And I do recommend people get your news from other channels as well. Steve Bannon made the point. Jack Posobiec mentioned this. Bannon says, watch MSNBC so you know what their plans are. And basically, War Room just runs MSNBC all the time. I think he's right. Absolutely. All right, let's go. What is this? Day 3. Dre Thomas Frey says, hey, Tim, shout out to my wife, Brianna, who opened a coffee shop in Mora, Minnesota. Day 3, and she's already out of beans. Didn't plan to be this blessed. Graphene dream. Shout out. Glad to hear it, man. Awesome. Let's go. Aaron Nelson says, invest in paper stock, They have to replace all those pre-printed ballots. Dunder Mifflin plus 25. Ha ha. I don't know what they're going to do. They can't somehow. Michael Sabat says, Tim, why don't you try jiu-jitsu? You'll like it. Probably. I just only have so much time in the day, and I'm 38. So I don't really know if I feel like getting into something new. I took 3 Kung Fu lessons. 3. And that was fun. And my buddy taught me some basic capoeira. And I think I did like a week or maybe 2 weeks of capoeira stuff. I don't know, not really my thing. I've done a couple gun training courses, but you do what you do. I'm pretty sure I would very much enjoy jiu-jitsu, but I just don't have the time, to be honest. All right. Questionable Quality says, did you hear about the conservative think tank that was burnt down near Minneapolis? They ruled that it was caused by arson. Love your show. Whoa, that's crazy. Shredkowski says, stopped playing MTG years ago and I'm no longer fat. Can't be a coincidence. I don't know. When I was a kid, I played Magic and skateboard at the same time. And so I had no issues. I'm really excited for the cards. I mean, I got to tell you guys, it's an expensive game. And I'm really, it's unprecedented, to be completely honest. Magic the Gathering started in 1993. Richard Garfield wanted to make a board game, but it was too expensive to make a board game. So they said, what if we just do cards instead? Because they're easier to print. So they made the game. It was the first trading card game ever made. And it was good enough, but kind of weird. Over the years, they've dramatically improved the game, although it's gotten more complicated as the years have gone on because they're expanding with new abilities, new rules, new terms. The problem, however, is that it's pretty woke. Yeah, when they do the Pro Tour, they put pronouns in people's bios, and these guys are all out of shape and overweight. And I'm like, what is going on here, guys? What is going on here? So my idea is we're going to have a Magic the Gathering Commander tournament. We can probably offer up some large prizes, but what was the rule? We were like, I said before, like we got to do like a BMI thing where it's like you can only enter if you're under a certain weight. And I'm like, no, it's probably a bad idea. Some people might say it's discriminatory. I got an idea. It's not just a contest to play a game of Magic the Gathering. It is a Magic the Gathering triathlon. Not really triathlon. Here's the idea. But the first contest in the competition will be a pull-up contest. Doesn't matter how many you do. You just got to do more than the other guy. Then we're going to play a game of Magic the Gathering. And if you win, you advance to the next round, which is a push-up contest. And then if you pass that, you advance to the next round, which is a game of Magic the Gathering. And if you pass that, then it's a sprint. And if you get my point, like, guys, you got to get in shape. It will make your brains work better. I'm not kidding. It literally will. Scott Cooper says, what do you, just jumped on me. I want to do it. What do you think of a Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton ticket? Michelle would step down after a time saying she's overwhelmed. And then we have a Hillary presidency. Lord help us. Maybe. I don't know. I got to tell you, it is absolutely insane where we're at. I can't even predict it. No idea. All right. Rat's Ass says, it's ogre, sir. You misspelled media orgs, Mr. Stelter. Ha. Brass Mustache says, remember when Tucker sent Stelter donuts and he ate them in secret after throwing a tantrum? Brian Stelter's such a nasty dude. He's such an evil guy. Self-interested, lying grifter. The White Trash Panda says, are morning live streams going to become the norm? Maybe not. To be honest, I would prefer to do a 2-hour live morning show, take the key segments recorded, and then upload those later, if it works. Now, 2 weeks ago, on a Thursday for the debate, we did it, and it was a smashing success. The live stream hit about 200K viewers, and then the segments that were recorded during the live stream hit 250 to 300K. And so I was like, wow, if we can do it this way, I mean, it is just the best way to do the morning show. One single 2-hour morning show with segments and commentary from the audience would be substantially better if it's sustainable. We tried it before. The challenge is that a lot of people, if 200,000 people watch the whole 2-hour show, which most do, they're not going to watch the segments later. And so it actually depresses total views. So if I put up 4 videos and one person watches all 4, that's 4 views. And each view is going to generate algorithmic push. It's going to generate ad revenue through ads and things like this. But if the average person just watches 1 2-hour show, then it's 25% of the views, which depresses the channel. And, YouTube is designed for split segments that are long and in playlists. That's how their algorithm operates. However, Thursday was so successful that I'm fairly confident with it. And considering it's the 4th of July weekend, it really is easier to do a 2-hour morning show live, just talking for 2 hours straight, than it is to sit here and try and just read and read and read and then record and then read and then record. This is way more fun and way easier to do, especially if y'all are super chatting in different things that are happening in stores. I could pull up right now and then jump right in. All right. NYBSSP says, Brian Stelter is a real-life Peter Pettigrew. Sir, do you follow me on X? Because that's what I tweeted. I'll pull that one up. This is what I said. Here you go. I said, Brian Stelter is the Peter Pettigrew of politics. Hopefully the Harry Potter reference will help millennials understand. Yeah, literally, that's what he is. He is the Peter Pettigrew of politics. I do want to shout this out real quick. Make sure you go to Timcast.com, get your tickets for the RNC event, July 18th. I don't know if there's any left, but I should shout it out just in case. And also smash that like button. Here we go. Hey, we got a regular one. This is from Soul Searcher saying, I love your show, Tim. I'm from Australia. God bless you, Tim. Keep up the good work. I wanted to read that because the best band, Men at Work. We have never recovered as a country from when Men at Work were the top charting band in this country. That was it. And it's all downhill after that. I'm kidding, by the way, but man, Men at Work, they were awesome. They are awesome. Now it's just, I think Colin Hay is his name. But they had such good songs, just down under, epic. I know they're Australian, and that's why I shouted them out. But they touched the hearts of the American people with their music. All right. We'll grab some more super chats. King Henry says, I hate these new generation of nerds. The art online community sucks, and these new anime, manga, comics fans. Dude, you know what's really grinding my gears with anime? They keep doing this generic, like almost AI-generated same storylines over and over and over again. How many anime have they made now where the story is a guy is transported to another world where he gets godlike powers and everything's based on a video game? Not even kidding. There's like 5, and the titles are all these long, verbose things like, I was transported to a new world and I have cheat codes. And I'm like, that's the name of the show. Another one's like, I was reborn in this new world with powers of a god. And I'm like, yeah, here we go. Like and so I'm like scrolling through Crunchyroll, like, I get it, dude. I don't want to watch the 5th version of the same thing. Boring. Not interested. And they keep doing that. All right. Greg Duvier says, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is talking blame for Biden's poor performance at the debate. He was asking Biden for floor relief funds. Source Alpha News. Interesting. TJ Rainman says each pull-up gets 1 HP for MTG. Earn your HP for the win. That's a really good idea. I don't know about pull-ups because your average dude is not going to be doing enough pull-ups for an average game of, like, if you're playing Commander, 40 HP multiplayer. If you do like dual Commander, 30 HP. I think push-ups. Every push-up you do is how much HP you'll have to start the game. Maybe it does have to, pull-ups, maybe. Or maybe we do this. You can do 10 sit-ups, 10 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, and 10, what else should we do? Burpees. Yeah, that's a good one. And each of those will count towards your HP for a 60-card format game of standard or modern or something. But I think Commander's more fun anyway. So maybe just that. You have to be able to do those. And if you can't, you start depressed. That actually is a really good idea. Magic the Gathering tournament, multiplayer, competitive EDH, that's what it's called, Elder Dragon Highlander, Commander, I think it's a better name. And normally you start with 40 HP at the game, but you got to earn your HP. That means 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, 10 pull-ups, and 10 burpees. And if you can't, like let's say you can only do 5 push-ups and you can't do anything else, you start the game with 5 HP. Good luck. You can still win, but you might get wiped out instantly. That's a good idea. I like that idea. You'll be at a disadvantage. All right. Smashing Random Key says, why do you refuse to have anyone to the right of Lauren Chen on IRL? When is Seth Jared or Vincent James or Red Ice TV going to be on? You say you're willing to talk to anyone, but that doesn't seem to really be the case. You know, the funny thing about comments like that, they're never like, why don't you pick someone who represents an idea? You know what I mean? Like if someone says, hey, I'm concerned about this issue. Why don't you have someone on who talks about it? I'd say, that's interesting. I'll send it to my booking crew. No. It's always, why won't you have on my guy that I'm a fan of? Because I'm not going to book anybody. That's it. Have a nice day. Dude, the idea that you're going to shout out those guys and ask why we won't have them on is no different than asking why we don't have Brad Pitt on. It's no different than asking why we don't have the homeless guy across the street on, because there's 330 million people in this country, of which the estimates are like 10 to 30,000 are deemed prominent. And I'm not going to have the majority of them on. It's funny to people. People are like, I'm going to cite 3 people that I watch and wonder why you won't invite them. Why don't I have James Kaminsky on? It's a name I made up. Because I don't follow them, don't know where they are in the news, and don't know what the relevance is because I don't know them. That's it. Why won't you have on these people that you don't know? I don't know. That's it. Thank you and have a nice day. Mr. Potato Head says, if you're looking for an anime, you should check out Solo Leveling or Kaiju number 8. Oh, I think I watched Solo Leveling. And I think I read the, that one totally bombed. Yeah. Solo Leveling. I think I watched it and then I read the comic and they just burned that one to the ground, in my opinion. Solo Leveling was an awesome show. And I started reading the comic because the show is not going fast enough. That's always what I do. And then I was like, oh, this is stupid. I'm going to spoil the whole thing for everybody because it's like you can read the comic. The show is basically that in the world at some point portals opened up. And monsters from like video game like video game IP stuff are coming out, like goblins come out. And so then various people undergo awakenings. They get varying degrees of powers and they have different tier levels. So they go into these portals to defeat the bosses that are within them to shut them down before the monsters can come into the real world. One day, this dude is the lowest level. They call him the weakest guy. And he nearly dies in this one dungeon, which turns out to be a high-level dungeon they thought was a low-level dungeon. And then right before he dies, a prompt appears like a video game and asks him if he wants to, level up or whatever. If he wants to be the player or that he's been chosen as the player. And then he becomes the only person who has the ability to earn experience points, level up. A screen appears before him that only he can see where he can pull items out of his inventory as if he was in a video game. Very, very fun concept. I thought that was amazing, unique, and really interesting. And then they burned the whole thing to the ground because it turns out none of it was actually, there's no component of video game element to the real life. Gods and demons are being reborn, and there's gods who want to destroy the world, and he's the reincarnation of something. And I'm like, this is dumb. Off. Stop reading. Not interested. All right. The White Trash Panda says, fitness MTG equals 10 times more smelly than normal MTG. Yeah, to be honest, anyone who's in shape and does 10 push-ups is not going to be sweaty or smelly. Anybody who's in shape who does any one of those things, it would not even faze them. Anybody who's out of shape, smelly, and unkempt who tries to do those things would be unable to, and they'd lose right away, and they'd be gone. So I think that's it. What if we make it so that, better idea, you have to walk on a treadmill at 3 miles an hour while playing Magic the Gathering? That's the contest. That's easy, right? 3 mile an hour walk at a grade 3 incline. That's it. And that might actually get a little smelly. I think the average person would have no problem walking that. The average MTG player would probably give out very quickly. But it is what it is. Let's go. Corbin says, Tim, you should play Assassin's Creed 3. It covers revolutionary America with a slightly more sci-fi lens, and the story is amazing. I did play it. Is that the one where you play as the Native American guy? It's been a long time. I've played most of the Assassin's Creed. I stopped playing a while ago, though. And now there's like a big revolt over the Japanese one because there's a black samurai in it, and Japanese people are threatening to boycott the game, and I agree, and they should. And as a Japanese person myself, that's right, I am offended at how racist the game is. You could not give us a Japanese history lesson? Haram if I say. All right, I'll just grab we'll grab a couple more chats and super chats, and then we'll wrap up this live show for the morning. Hope you all had a good time and enjoyed it. Connor L. in the regular chat says, Nadu player marathon runner. For those who are not familiar, Nadu is a reference to a new card that was recently released that is OP, overpowered, as they call it. Although I don't necessarily think that's the case. But the other day, Ian came by early. I told him to bring his cards and we'll play. And he's playing a commander deck, Urza. For those that know, for those that don't, enjoy the esoteric garbled jargon. So Ian's got a deck from a few years ago, hasn't been updated, but is still massively powerful. His commander is Urza. It's mono blue artifacts. And it is insane. By like turn 3, he's got access to like 15 mana. He's pulling all these things out. And he gets me to 16 life. He's just smacking me in the face. And I'm like, don't care. Literally meaningless. And then he says to me, he's like, you're kind of just taking all this damage. You're not blocking. And I'm kind of worried about what that means. And I'm like, I win. So I'm playing Nadu. My turn comes. And then I'm like, I play Shuko, artifact with 0 equip cost. And then I reveal, like, did you notice I did Dryad Arbor out the whole time? And so this begins the process by which, with the Shuko and the 3 creatures, I am able to effectively draw 6 cards. And so I get like 2 lands out of it, 4 cards, and then for 1 blue, I flicker Nadu, resetting the ability, Shuko 6 more cards again, and then he's like, oh, dude, I lost. And I'm like, yeah, it's going to take me like 20 minutes to work the machine, but you've lost. Even with your massive board, my 3 creatures and 5 mana, I win the game. And so it was like, that's insane. Now, I don't think that means Nadu is overpowered, to be completely honest. It means the meta needs to adapt. And so this is one of the coolest things, and why Magic the Gathering has been so successful, is that there is no absolute card. Black Lotus, everyone's favorite collector's item, and it's worth $150 to $3 million, depending on the set it comes in and the condition that it's in. But the thing about Magic that works is, as the game changes with new cards, old cards that were seemingly worthless all of a sudden become powerful because now they can compete against the current meta of the game. Whereas with chess, everybody kind of gets it. You know, the game's been the same way for, I think, what are we going on now? It's 2024, hasn't changed. It's like 15-something. Magic the Gathering, with a new set coming out, there could be a card that's seemingly innocuous that no one thinks is valuable. And this was true with a card called Tarmogoyf. It was worthless. And then it jumped up like a couple $100. A card will be made, and everyone says, that's a stupid card, it's worthless. A new set comes out 10 years later, and everyone rushes to try and find this rare card that isn't in print anymore, because now it works for these new decks, and that rapidly changes the market. And so for those that have bought Magic cards a long time ago, these things could end up being worth hundreds of dollars or more. I'll give you an example. Lion's Eye Diamond. I bought a couple of these a long time ago, and they were worth, I don't know, $50 or something. And now they're worth several $100s. And that will always be the case. They're just going to keep going up in value if they don't reprint them. But even when they do, the older versions are still more valuable collector's items. My friends, we're going to wind things down, so I'll grab a couple more super chats here. We got a couple minutes left. All right. Kane Abel says, Tim, why don't you have my guy on, Seamus? He will bring Lucky Charms and vodka onto your show. Good times, LOL. Seamus is welcome anytime. He abandoned us. That one gamer says, would Vivek be a possible candidate to go against Newsom in 2028? Assuming he's in the Trump cabinet, he can use that to push for his presidency if Trump wins. It'll be interesting. I don't know. I don't know. It's tough. I don't know if Vivek has the absolute X factor, but I don't know who else we have, right? Trump may be just overshadowing everything with it. His charisma is through the roof. Brewmaster Monk says, it would be cool if you asked some people from the ADL's glossary of hate and extremism to come on for a culture war episode. It's a good idea. That's a great idea. Josip Sokek, pronouncing that wrong for sure. Real men of Europe don't need games. We might all be playing real-life Call of Duty soon. Drafting is coming next year. I believe so, yes. Fixed Bayonet says, check out Kent Hovind's channel. He refutes evolution in schools. Tell Ian China found a new graphene on the moon. Oppenheimer rant shut him out. Really? Viola says, geez, I walk into EDH talk, LOL. Are you winning with Nadu draw your whole deck and Oracle? Also, I got my Black Lotus for 1K at GP Rally. No, my Nadu deck doesn't run Oracle. Basically, the way that deck works is you draw your whole deck out, and then you play a card that says, essentially, reveal the top cards equal to a certain number, and if you can't because there's no cards left, you win the game. But that is a very, very common, very simple combo that a lot of people are playing, and that card can do it. especially once you get, if you have something like Displacer Kitten or any kind of flicker ability with Nadu, and then you have a 0-cost artifact, you draw your whole deck draws instantly. It's infinite. And then you just play Thassa's Oracle, you win. I'm playing Finale of Devastation because it's the same thing. But, it'd probably be good to run Thassa's Oracle in there because you want multiple win conditions. The deck I think that I'm running has like 3 win conditions, and they don't all rely on going infinite. They could actually just win through commander damage and, well, probably not commander damage, to be honest, but probably just like Skewed Swarm attacks. You don't need to go infinite. You can actually just get 10 damage per turn for a couple turns if you want. But going infinite usually is the way to go. Simply put, it's an infinity deck. There you go. All right, everybody, smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with all your friends. They shadow banned us. We've probably been shadow banned for a long time, to be honest. Head over to timcast.com, click join us, become a member. Timcast IRL will be coming up tonight at 8 p.m. I got a segment at 1 p.m. for those that missed it in this show, 4 p.m. And then I'm going to record another segment, which I did not record during this show, for 6 p.m., so don't miss it. I'll wrap it up there. Thank you all so much for hanging out. We'll be back tonight at 8 p.m., as I said, and we'll see you all then.